Schools are now required to report teenage pregnancy to the police. That is, if the girl is under the age of 16 and the expectant father is older. Basil Manuel, who's Executive Director at the National Professional Teachers Organization, joins us now to discuss this issue of pregnancy in schools as well as the Basic Education Department's attempts to deal with this crisis. Good to have you with us, Mr. Manuel. Now, this really is a crisis. The Education Department has labeled it as such. Talk us through the gazetted new policy, what it aims to do and how exactly it's going to roll out.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be with you again. Let me agree, this is a crisis when 9- and 10-year-olds are falling pregnant, children who can barely carry a child, let alone birth a child. Then we are in a crisis mode. NAPTOSA welcomes the decision of the ministry, and the policy basically seeks to ensure that we first of all get the correct statistics, then that there is assistance that can be given not only to the child who's had a child, but also if the father of the child is himself underage, that there is that family support, but also to ensure that if in fact a child of such a tender age has fallen pregnant by someone who may be much older, that there is a process in place so that we can ensure that those people also get prosecuted. You would remember that we've heard a lot of statistics about children falling pregnant, but no concomitant statistics of arrests where certain people have abused children and parents have been paid off. But this is also about educating the parents about the rights and ensuring that these new little children get the attention they deserve.
The age of consent is 16, but we also have found traditionally that a lot of the focus has been on the pregnant girls. How are you going to ensure as the department that you actually do get those prosecutions, that the men who are involved in fathering the children are also then being, I guess, brought to book, specifically when they are older than 16 and the children are underage?
Well, look, I don't speak on behalf of the department, but as a union that works with the department and works amongst teachers and has since forever been talking about teachers themselves not falling foul of the law, we believe that reporting is only a first step in ensuring that justice is done. Remember that a child of that age falling pregnant, their life chances alter dramatically. The chances that they would get to the end of schooling without falling pregnant again, or alternatively even getting to tertiary education, is extremely slim. And so what we want to see, and we've supported the Education Department in this, that first of all, let's do a report. Let's find out what the circumstances are. And if, in fact, there's a miscreant involved in this, that charges be laid, because that is the role of the police. It's not the role of the Education Department. But we want to see that justice is done. There are too many people taking advantage of women and girls. And if we don't stop this now, where does it end? It starts with us. And we've got to try and do something as people involved in education.
Mr. Manuel, you rightly said that reporting is really the first step, and as the Department of Education and NAPTOSA and all the relevant stakeholders, you can but report. Is there enough capacity within the police, do you believe, in order to be able to take this further and for whatever concomitant action that needs to take place to actually come into effect?
Let me split the answer. First of all, let me say, reporting is one thing. Supporting the children and supporting the families to do the right thing is the other thing that lies very well within the realm of both the Education Department and social development. But insofar as the police are concerned, we are desperately concerned about capacity. We are desperately concerned about numbers. We've seen the stats of an ever-reducing number of policemen in the police force. And we know there are a lot of good people. However, if we don't have the numbers, we won't have the capacity to follow this up. Now, we have to, as a society, make some decisions and pressurize our political decision makers, because this is about the future of our children. When children start having children, what are their life chances? What is the life chance of a child that has a mother that is 9 and 10 years old? Honestly, if we don't start somewhere, then we are failing as an education department, but as a society as well.
There are a couple of gaps here, Mr. Manuel. What if, for example, the child stays away from school for the 9 months of their pregnancy or for 8 or 7 months before they're actually detected? How then is the school going to ensure that that reporting also does actually take place if you haven't physically seen the child?
One of the important things to remember is that schools are primarily community-based institutions, and schools know when something has happened. And of course, we do know that one of the things that is mooted, particularly in the amendment to the education bills that was republished now the other day, is also the follow-up of children absenting themselves from school. Now, our response to that has been, please ensure that we have the resources to do that, because it all revolves around that. There was a time when we had truant officers. Why not bring them back? And they were the people who assisted us as school heads, principals, teachers, to chase up kids that have just evaporated. We can no longer afford to have thousands of children dropping out of school for no good reason. But if we don't have the resources, a principal has to remember their primary job is in the school. They can't run after every other child if they don't have the resources to do that. So there's a lot to be done. You are so correct. There are gaps, and one of these gaps is ensuring that there is resourcing to ensure that the good intention is carried through to fruition.
Mr. Basil Manuel, thank you very much for your time and your response there on this new intervention by the Department of Basic Education. It's now been gazetted. All children under the age of 16 who fall pregnant in school must be reported to the police.